better way to experience true Dominican culture? Join us for Taste.
Hi, I'm Caroline Hobby, host of Nashville Insider, where we bring you the latest in country music news and happenings. Join us as we interview your favorite artists and go behind the scenes of country music's hottest events. Watch Nashville Insider right here on Cayman 27.
Dive into the creative world, fashion, music, festivals, and cuisine. So get your passports ready and let's travel. All coming up on this channel.
I just need to know, whose side are you on?
This part's where the experiment really begins.
This ain't no place for no hero. This ain't no place for no better man. This ain't no place for no hero. Who go home. They're coming. This ain't no place for no hero.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
A journey like no other. From Genesis to Revelation.
I am Adam.
And I am called Eve.
Why aren't they wearing clothes?
Lucifer! You have sinned against the Lord.
Their stories inspire us. An all-new series. Superbook.
Coming up next, prisoners could be giving a helping hand with garbage collection as early as this week.
The police commissioner calls a hit and run involving one of his troops a disturbing attack.
And the Mosquito Research and Control Unit says stopping the release of mozzies is not the end of the GMO project.
College basketball makes its return to the Cayman Islands. We've got your day one recap coming up.
And back in the studio, we're monitoring the weather, and I'll have a full forecast for you just a bit later in the show.
Cayman 27 News is coming up next.
The Premier League is back. Sign up for the Sports Pack today and fuel your passion for football. Sports is life, only on Flow.
Let Elite Marble and Granite bring the charm of Italy to your home. Made from only the best materials. Santa Margherita Quartz is handcrafted at a state-of-the-art facility located in Italy and then journeys across the ocean to Elite Marble and Granite, who is the exclusive distributor in the Caribbean. Elegant and resistant, Santa Margherita Quartz products offer a large choice of colors, textures, and exclusive finishes. Call 945-9028 or visit us online at elite.ky. Elite Marble and Granite, where perfection costs less.
Eclipse Hair Design and Day Spa. Discover the difference.
You're watching Cayman 27 News, Cayman Informed. Brought to you by Foster's Food Fair. At Foster's Food Fair, we care. Flow.
Good evening, I'm Taylor Burrows.
And I'm Kevin Morales. Thank you for tuning in. Northward prisoners could be joining rubbish collectors on the rounds as soon as this week. The idea proposed by the health minister comes as the Department of Environmental Health faces more delays in its roadside collection. Cayman 27's Caroline James reports.
The prisoners are going to be assisting with collections, which is a true testament of this government trying to ensure that they are rehabilitated and ready for work when they come back out.
A fresh solution for the much beleaguered Department of Environmental Health. But some MLAs questioned the suitability of serving convicts for the job. It's a concern the health minister accepted. However, he said he was supportive of the scheme.
Prisoners that will be involved in this are all low risk, prisoners, and they'll be properly assessed and trained.
Questions too about supervision and reimbursement were raised.
They won't be paid. They'll be usually getting their usual stipend from prison, not from the department.
Finance Minister Roy McTaggart has already said he's open to supporting similar schemes.
And if they've learned from their mistakes, then certainly you want to give them all the support you can and assimilate them back into your society as productive citizens.
The news will also be well received by those who've already re-assimilated into the community, those who believe a second chance is all it takes.
There's more windows open now. Hey, we're going to be police, we're going to be firemen, we're going to be in the government system. No doors will be shut to say, hey, you're a criminal. You know, that's great.
An opportunity to help those after a fresh start and a cost-effective solution to a department in crisis. This week, there's a lot riding on those garbage trucks. Caroline James, Cayman 27.
Mr. Seymour says it was actually the director of prisons who had thought up the idea, and he says if this doesn't work, well, they'll just change strategy.
Police Commissioner Derek Byrne says Saturday's hit-and-run incident involving a police officer was a disturbing attack. The incident happened during a traffic stop on the Esterly-Tibbetts Highway in the vicinity of Yacht Drive. The RCIPS says the policeman had walked in front of the parked sedan to get the license plate number after its occupants did not respond to his questions. They say the driver then struck the officer before speeding off into West Bay. Commissioner Byrne told Cayman 27 such incidents threaten the relationship between law enforcement and the community and negatively impact everyone's safety. The matter is now under investigation, and every effort is being made to locate and prosecute the offender. The officer suffered non-life-threatening injuries and was released from hospital on Saturday. He is currently on leave as a result of the incident.
Out-of-work Caymanians and their partners gathered at the Lion Center this morning to register for temporary seasonal work. Now, it's all part of the National Community Enhancement Program, the NICE program, now in its 4th year, which will see Caymanians offered jobs starting from next week.
They'll be involved in a variety of projects like roadside marking, cleaning verges and beach access ways, plus maintaining parks and public spaces. Project coordinator Levy Allen explained the benefits of the program.
This has involved a number of projects completed successfully, excellent work being done to enhance the community, beautify spaces, complete projects which may have been languishing for a bit, and most importantly, giving persons some skills which will help them to get back to full-time employment.
And Mr. Allen says you can help too.
The participants of this project are doing an excellent job in enhancing the community. Look out for them around your communities. When you see them on the roadsides, please drive carefully. Ensure that they are safe. Ensure they make it back home to their families. And you know, encourage them for the work that they're doing, because they're really putting in a hard day's work for a fair day's pay.
Mr. Allen says they're waiting to hear whether there'll be another mandate from government to run the NICE project in the future. A 31-year-old Bodentown man faces burglary charges following 2 incidents that happened back in April. Police say the man is behind 2 home break-ins where a number of personal items and jewelry were stolen. The first at an address on South Sound Road in Georgetown, the second at an address on Lavender Way, which is in Bodentown.
The man was expected to appear in court this afternoon.
Joe Avery going to join us now with that ever-important Monday weather check. What's it going to look like the rest of the week, Joe?
Hey, well, it's probably going to be better for me than I felt like the weekend was. I mean, it wasn't like it was a terrible weekend. I mean, I got plenty done. The weather was sunny. You had some clouds, but I couldn't take my boat out.
Yeah, it's a bit choppy.
It was a little bit rough in there. You know, with a 13-foot boat, you don't want to take any chances out there. So I heeded the warning, but it looks like this week's going to smooth out for all of you boaters that maybe didn't quite get your fix this weekend like myself.
Awesome.
You know, not that it was terrible, but it should be a little better than that.
Understandable. I see what you're saying. All right, cool, Joe. Joe will be back in about 10 or 15 minutes with our full weather forecast.
Thanks, Joe. The Aedes aegypti mosquito season is over. The Mosquito Research and Control Unit has now shifted the focus of its controversial GMO mosquito program from releasing mosquitoes in the field to data evaluation. What's next in the fight against the Aedes aegypti? Cayman 27's Joe Avery reports.
It's all fresh data. It's data that was accumulated according to a project where both sides, both scientists on both sides agreed this was the way to go.
Now that the release of Oxytec's genetically modified mosquitoes has been halted in West Bay trial areas, MRCU Director Dr. Jim McNally says it's time to evaluate the data.
They have an interesting methodology of potentially controlling mosquitoes. We don't want to ignore it. But we do want to do our due diligence and make sure that it can be ultimately integrated with everything else that we do as part of our program.
In May, government signed a $500,000 contract with Oxytec for a 5-month round of trials on the GMO project. As recently as July of 2017, there were talks of an $8 million island-wide rollout, but after former MRCU Director Dr. Bill Petrie's departure that same month to Miami-Dade, the MRCU changed course.
It was easier to see that the approach in the past that was being proposed, $8 million island-wide release, was a silver bullet approach. And I think that's the biggest distinguishing feature of previous versus the current administration.
Dr. McNally says while there's no silver bullet to control the Aedes aegypti, a most efficient vector of diseases like Zika, chikungunya, and dengue, the Oxytec's GMO technology may have a role to play in Cayman's future eradication efforts.
We're still looking at the potential to collaborate in 2019.
He says the results of this year's 5-month trial will inform the decision-making process on the future of the MRCU Oxytec partnership. Joe Avery, Cayman 27.
Dr. McNally says the MRCU is committed to transparency regarding the GMO mosquito project. He says the unit is working to bring some data to the public sooner rather than later.
Soon, all employers will be mandated to post job vacancies on a government clearinghouse portal. This afternoon, Premier Alden McLaughlin said work on the portal is continuing. This as he piloted the proposed immigration transition bill. Premier McLaughlin says more immigration changes are coming, and it will include the portal requirement for work permits.
If employers wish to continue to advertise their jobs in any local media, that is a matter for them. There is no restriction on that, but there will be an absolute requirement to post their position on the new government portal.
He says further legislative changes to create the online platform will be heading to the LA in the first quarter of next year.
Coming up right after this break, we check in with the Department of Environment for the latest call numbers.
Southwest Airlines gets set to open a new gateway to the U.S.
And Cayman Airways delivers a sneak peek of its new acquisition. Those stories and more right after this. Stay tuned.
Some say the time of miracles is past, but we see miracles all around us, every day. Some could not walk. Some could not breathe. Some had lost all hope. But something amazing happened. Something that can't be analyzed or quantified. Something that is more than good medicine. Holy Cross.
Bogle Insurance Brokers Limited are professional, independent insurance brokers established in 1988. We are a wholly Caymanian-owned insurance broker with a wealth of knowledge in the local and international insurance market. Our professional team service clients with a range of insurance products, including motor, home, health, contractors, marine, and business insurance, among others. Contact us at 949-0579 or email us at service@bogleins.com.
Registered green iguana cullers are starting off week 4 of the 18-month call with money in their pockets. The first paychecks were issued to cullers starting Friday, and call manager Carl Noble says aside from a few hiccups, the cutting and distribution of checks went according to plan. He says in week 4, he'll start to assess and adjust cullers' quotas.
Going to week 4, some cullers are concerned that maybe they can't make numbers that they thought they could make. Others, though, are on the flip side, they know they can do a lot more than they thought they could initially. So it's now my job to go back to the spreadsheets and to adjust everyone's quota based on their initial month's performance.
Mr. Noble says the counting station is at its busiest between 3:30 and 5:30 in the afternoon, as many callers are out hunting for morning time.
The fire services had to free a woman from her vehicle after she collided with a light pole yesterday.
Now, this incident also caused a power outage in the Prospect area. According to police, a blue Kia Rio crashed on Marina Drive and Party Lane. The vehicle sustained extensive damage to the front and the light pole was broken in the middle.
They say the single female occupant in the car was trapped at the time. She was removed from the vehicle and taken to the Cayman Islands Hospital, where she remains under observation at this time. The Cayman Utilities Company also responded to the crash and later restored power. The incident is currently under investigation.
West Bay North MLA Bernie Bush says that he's answering the call from his constituents to stand and fight a coastal works application soon headed to cabinet. He says he's joining the grassroots group Save Barker's Beach at a public meeting Tuesday night where the public can have its say. The plans, which include removing 180,000 square feet of seagrass to create a swim area for a relocated Calico Jacks, have raised concerns about the potential impacts to the environment and tourism. Hey, hold on, come here.
Have come together. They want to have this meeting. They want to let the public know what's happening. They want signatures, and they're not joking. That has been almost reserved like a park, and it's supposed to be the national park.
Real Estate, which is supporting the application, pointed out last week that the site of the proposed works is outside the part of Barker's earmarked for National Park. The meeting is tomorrow night at the Sir John A. Cumber Primary School Hall, scheduled for 7 p.m. And Cayman is seeing double-digit growth in the number of tourists arriving on island this year compared to last.
The tourism minister's pitch to the Legislative Assembly reflected on the sector's growth, which has been on the upswing since 2013. Cayman 27's Caroline James is here live in the Cayman 27 studio. She's been looking at the economic impact of that increase. Caroline.
There's been an 18.13% rise in visitors, both air and cruise, this year so far in comparison to 2017. Now that translates as an increase of 296,118 extra tourists on island. So what does that mean for Cayman? Well, in economic terms, an increase in tourist arrivals means an increase in revenue. The Department of Tourism says visitor spending for so-called stayover visitors, that is, those arriving by air and not on a cruise, has increased from $366.6 million in 2017, that's that figure there, to $421.9 million in 2018. That's between January and September. Now, over that 9-month period, there's been a 15.1% increase, or $53.3 million. If you break that down to an individual spend per visitor, that's a 5.3% increase per person, from $183.50 to $193.90. Now, the tourism minister stressed to lawmakers why that trend was so important.
It is one of the highest daily rates in the region, placing us in the top 2. And, Mr. Speaker, it speaks volumes when not only do your arrivals increase, but what they spend increase, because that says that you're not lowering the cost to attract more visitors. You have a product that they want, and they're prepared to pay more for it.
Now, cruise figure spends, however, tell a slightly different story, with per person spending down. That's from $115 per person in 2015 to $105.17 in 2018. Kevin.
Thank you very much, Caroline. Cayman will be getting a new gateway to the U.S. come next year. From June, Southwest Airlines will begin seasonal flights from Baltimore, Washington to Grand Cayman. Tourism Minister Moses Kirkconnell made the announcement Friday as he released Cayman's latest tourism figures.
along with the new route of Denver by our own Cayman Airways. We look forward to more growth in our industry and more gateways to serve us and more benefits for our people.
Of course, just to clarify, that is Baltimore, Maryland. This past June, Southwest began its daily nonstop service to Grand Cayman from Fort Lauderdale. And Jordan Armanise will have your check on sports coming up next. He's reporting live from the John Grady High School for the Cayman Classic College Basketball Tournament. Hear all about today's tip-off action. Stick around.
Exciting.
A timely response. That matters. Owning your own home. That matters. Supporting our community. That matters. When your child smiles, that matters. Good encounters, great experiences. It matters at Cayman National.
Eclipse Hair Design and Day Spa. Discover the difference.
Hey guys, Black Friday's around the corner and you should shop at Office Supply, especially if you like the VIP cinema. Take a look at this Vizio.
Dolby Surround Sound, 65-inch, $11.50.
Josh has got all the answers. Take a look at that price. Incredible. Now, got a gamer. Some kid who likes to play Fortnite. They need a new gamer's laptop. Josh, the Acer.
Nitro, $965.
Big mark down there. Creative, somebody who likes music. Got to have a MacBook.
$999.
Take a look at the selection of laptops. Tons to choose from. Priced as low as
$185.
Plus, they're doing the service in-house. Josh, you got great hours. Tell them where they need to shop.
Office Supply.
Right here in Marquis Plaza.
Cayman 27 Sports is brought to you by Elite Marble and Granite, where perfection costs less.
Welcome back, Cayman. The second annual Cayman Islands Classic unfolds behind me as the Georgia State Panthers maul the St. Bonaventure Bonnies. But the two games this morning, the Clemson Tigers versus the Akron Zips, and the University of Georgia took on the Illinois State Redbirds. Let's take a look at this morning's action.
As the Clemson Tigers fans packed the John Gray Gymnasium, day one of the Cayman Islands Classic tipped off with its top team facing the Akron Zips. A nice drive here from junior Daniel Utami. He'd finish with 13 points and 8 rebounds. Clemson with some nice ball movement here. On the other end, redshirt senior Marquise Reed from distance. He drains it. Reed would finish with 16 points and 3 assists. The Zips would not go away. Utami backs down the defender, turns, fires, he drains it. Nice shot there. Tigers using their size, though, under the basket. Senior Elijah Thomas takes it to the rack. He'd finish with 15 points and 12 rebounds. More Clemson. Redshirt senior Shelton Mitchell with the drive, puts it up and drains it. He'd lead the Tigers with 22 points. Tigers win 72-69. Here's both coaches on the win and the opening day of the Cayman Islands Classic.
Akron did some nice things down the stretch, had a couple of big threes that changed the momentum of the game after we had the 15-point lead. But our kids did a much better job in the second half of executing. We only had a couple turnovers in the second half, got the ball to some good places. Thought we were aggressive rebounding the ball, which was good to see, and held on for a difficult win against a good, well-coached Akron team.
You know, the hospitality, the event, the quality of the teams, the great officials today. I mean, this is a high-level deal, you know, and so for us to have an opportunity to be challenged in that way this time of year, it's just it's a major thing for our program, our team, and our kids, and so we're thankful for that.
In his first year with the University of Georgia, former Indiana Hoosiers coach Tom Crean roamed the sidelines as the Bulldogs faced the Illinois State Redbirds in Game 2. Bulldog senior Derek Obidi turns and fires, drains it. Nice shot there. More Georgia off the rebound. Battle on the boards. In comes freshman Ty Fagan for the hoop. Bulldogs looking good. Redbirds hanging in there, though. Redshirt junior Zach Copeland follows his own shot. Drives up and under for the scoop, but it wouldn't be enough. Here's the game's top scorer, Rayshawn Hammonds. Turnaround jumper. It's good. He'd finish with 31 points and 7 rebounds. Georgia takes it 80-68.
All right, game 3 right now. Georgia State 58, St. Bonaventure 50. Coming up at 7:30, the Creighton Blue Jays take on the Boise State Broncos. Tune in to Cayman 27 for all your highlights at the Cayman Islands Classic. Coming up later, we have your CONCACAF Nations League qualifier Saturday evening at the Schroeven-Baden Sports Complex. Cayman's 3rd game of the qualifying stage, this time versus St. Lucia. And of course, Let's Talk Sports live from the John Gray High School Gymnasium after the news starting at 7 p.m. All right, Joe's got your weather next. Stick around.
The countdown is on for Cayman 27's Parade of Lights, brought to you by Bogle Insurance Brokers Limited. Enjoy this annual boat parade as the water comes to life at Camana Bay Harbor with this year's theme, Christmas Around the World. Don't miss Cayman's largest family gathering as we kick off the 2018 holiday season. Saturday, December 1st, starting at 6 p.m. at Camana Bay. Photo booth brought to you by CTMH Doctors Hospital.
From happy beginnings and life choices that we make along the way,
Brit K protects your lifestyle with the best insurance cover at the best possible price.
Health insurance with far-reaching benefits.
Family protection and long-term financial plans.
Business insurance and generous employee benefits.
For happy beginnings to happy ever after, visit BritK.ky.
Brit K, where people come first.
Get the quality, the service, the wide range of products in the BRAC. Everything you love about Paramount Carpets is now available on Cayman BRAC. Carpets, flooring, drywall, paints, windows and doors, lumber, from plumbing to electrical supplies. You'll find it all and a whole lot more at Paramount Carpets, Cayman BRAC.
We do a whole lot more than just cover your floor at Paramount Carpets.
And welcome back to the Weather Center. Joe Avery just holding it down on the 1s and 2s on our little touchscreen right here, the most powerful tool in weather technology you'll find on this island here. Well, save for the National Weather Service. They have some cool toys. But ours is picking up showers just to the south of us. It looks like maybe to the south-southeast of the sister islands. You can see a couple of moderately large cells right there. They look like they're drifting off in this general direction right there. Could they brush against the sister islands? Well, we were just going to wait and see. I'm going to go ahead and call it a 30% chance of showers for tonight. I would say maybe a little bit higher in the sister islands based on the data that we have right here on our screen, but 30% is what's in the cards from the National Weather Service. Anyway, let's take a look at what we can expect as we roll into Tuesday right there. The swells are out of the way. We're going to have slight seas, 1 to 3 foot seas out there, northeast 10 to 15 knot winds blowing, and another day with that partly cloudy Caribbean vibe, 30% chance of showers. Now, before I get to our 7-day forecast, let's take a look at some cities, plugging in some new places you can get to on a flight if you want to, or maybe even just kind of dream about going in our region right here. We got Kingston looking pretty good. That's the 3-day outlook there for Kingston, Miami, Tampa, Montego Bay, New York, and Bridgetown, Barbados. I just kind of threw that in there because it sounded pretty cool to me. Anyway, 7-day forecast right here. What do we have in store? Well, the icons are calling for a little bit of rain, but hey, don't let that fool you right right there on Tuesday. You can see the showers in the forecast, only a 30% chance for those showers right there, so nothing to panic over. By the time we get into Wednesday, it's kind of deja vu all over again, except for, hey, less chance of showers. So 20% chance of showers for Wednesday, Thursday, the same kind of deal, and all the way to Friday, so a less chance of showers than you may have expected. And as I always do, try to end the forecast with the weather pick of the day. Let's have it. This one from Delwyn McLaughlin, and the waves crash, and so they did. Back to you guys at the desk.
All right, nice shot. Over the weekend, Cayman Airways delivered a social media tease of one of its new additions to its fleet, the Boeing 737 MAX. Speaking of nice shots.
Photos of the new plane, the first of its kind for regional airlines, was released on the Cayman Airways Facebook page, showing off its fresh paint job from the Boeing's paint shop. A brief statement accompanied the photos saying, "Our new Boeing 737 MAX 8 aircraft is now all dressed up." Over the next few days, Cayman Airways flight and maintenance teams will be there conducting various checks, inspections, and flight tests on the aircraft.
Cayman Airways recently defended the Boeing 737 MAX 8 after concerns were raised in light of the Lion Air crash that happened in Indonesia. The national carrier assured all necessary checks will be made before this aircraft is purchased and brought to Cayman. Coming up in the second half hour of Cayman 27 News, we sit down with opposition leader Ezard Miller to talk about the last developments on the Legislative Assembly floor and claims of a challenge to his leadership. Hear what he has to say. And remember, we want you to WhatsApp us any photos, videos, or news tips. We want to know what's happening in your community. You can reach us via WhatsApp on the news hotline. That number for Cayman 27 is 527-2727. We'll be right back.
Bogle Insurance Brokers Limited are professional, independent insurance brokers established in 1988. We are a wholly Caymanian-owned insurance broker with a wealth of knowledge in the local and international insurance market. Our professional team service clients with a range of insurance products, including motor, home, health, contractors, marine, and business insurance, among others. Contact us at 949-0579 or email us at service@bogleins.com.
Have you had your Tortuga moment today? Come by Tortuga Fine Wine and Spirits for all your liquor needs. And taste the world-famous Tortuga rum and rum cake. Always delicious and baked fresh daily in the captivating Cayman Islands. With ongoing renovations at the airport, we invite you to shop our stores and buy before you fly. Relive the Cayman Islands in every bite.
Have you heard? They have new daily meal deals at Popeyes. A different meal with side every day of the week for the same price of just $3.99. Monday is chicken soup with rice. Tuesday for the chicken bowl. 2 tenders on Wednesday. A loaded chicken wrap on Thursday. It's all about that shrimp on Friday. Chicken nuggets to start the weekend. And the mixed 2-piece to finish.
The new daily meal deals from Popeyes. A different meal every day, served with the world famous best dressed chicken for only $3.99. Only at Popeyes, Louisiana Kitchen on Eastern Avenue.
The countdown is on for Cayman 27's Parade of Lights, brought to you by Bogle Insurance Brokers Limited. Enjoy this annual boat parade as the water comes to life at Camana Bay Harbor with this year's theme, Christmas Around the World. Don't miss Cayman's largest family gathering as we kick off the 2018 holiday season. Saturday, December 1st, starting at 6 p.m. at Camana Bay. Brought to you by Pro Yacht.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Cayman 27 News. I'm Kevin Morales. Premier Aldo McLaughlin hinted at an internal leadership struggle on the opposition bench. This happened last week. Joining me to discuss this is opposition leader, the Honorable Ezard Miller. Mr. Miller, thanks so much for being here. You know, we were talking about it in the break, so let's get right to it. What is your reaction to the Premier's comments?
Well, that's just a juvenile Trumpinian distraction attempt at rumor mongering by the Premier, which I am not, is not even worthy of comment on national television. I am confident that there's no challenge to my leadership within my group. I lead by consensus, and I take a very principled position, and I am prepared, and I help prepare the opposition. And this is just the fact that they can't deal with the fact that the opposition is functioning the way the opposition should function.
And I know Mr. Saku had come kind of to your defense or gave his reaction immediately afterward, but as far as you're concerned, everybody on the opposition is happy with your leadership.
And you would think that I'd be the first to know.
You would hope so.
Right?
You would hope so.
And quite frankly, if you look at the Constitution very carefully, there's no provision in the Constitution to remove the leader of the opposition between elections and when he's sworn in.
Mr. Miller, lots to go over in the actual action that happened in the Legislative Assembly. What are some things that have stuck out to you during the
We're dealing with about 19 to 20 pieces of legislation this week, and we dealt with, I think it was 6 pieces last week when I was absent. Most of it is consequential amendments to legislation, either dealing with developments in FACTA and the government's inspection of the financial industry, or the important legislation is the moving and the creating of works and the new Customs and Border Control. And most of the legislation that we're looking at now is replacement for existing custom laws and existing immigration laws, which have to be cut and paste and blended into other legislation. And then hopefully when we finish with the transition and it's all implemented, then I think we can do more specific purpose-led legislation. But I don't have anything. I support the creation of the works to handle the labor requirements and the human resource development in the country. I think it is time to separate it from immigration. So I support that. I also support the creation of the new Customs and Border Control. Do I have some concerns because I think the UK tried this several years ago and it didn't work out too well. And my concern with the creation of works, which the law talks about, we've also taken over the granting of permanent residence in Cayman status, and I think that that's a complication that the human resources should now deal with. I'm also concerned that we're moving the money collection aspect of customs into the border control unit, and I would have believed that we would be better off if we had left the excise tax and duty under the Minister of Finance and carried the enforcement arm across to enforcement issues of customs and enforcement issues of immigration over to the Customs and Border Control.
One of the things that your colleague from East End brought up today, Mr. McLean, was the issue of Caymanians having to prove in some circumstances that they are, in fact, Caymanian. What is your reaction to some of his comments today?
Unfortunately, because we have amended the work permit legislation over several decades, and we now require things like police records when people want to come on a work permit. The employers are requiring police records from Caymanians on applications and requiring them to prove that they're Caymanian because they don't want to be able to break the law. I think that's a stretch by the employers, and but I don't know, other than putting it in, prohibiting it under some kind of labor legislation, how the government can tell an employer what to ask for in terms of the competencies and qualifications of an employee. But it is unfortunate that the big employers has taken this thing and they're requiring Caymanians to get letters of from the immigration department when they're born Caymanians, that they're entitled to be Caymanians. That's not there's no requirement for that. If you produce your birth certificate that says who your parents are and a birth certificate that says that they were Caymanian, you are a Caymanian.
Seems like an extra hoop to jump through.
Yeah. It's just it's one of those things that makes it harder for Caymanians to move up the career ladder and also to get employment that we need to address. And I believe it is time for the government to send out a directive of some sort, whether under labor legislation or an immigration legislation, or making it clear that for Caymanians who are entitled to be Caymanians, there's no necessity to prove it.
All right, we got to
wrap
wrap
up.
up.
A birth certificate.
We got to wrap up shortly here. What are you looking forward to going forward now?
Well, I think that like I said, most of the other legislation, other than the stamp duty legislation, which is to come, are minor amendments to various laws. But the stamp duty law introduces some and plugs some loopholes, and it also provides some additional benefits to Caymanians in first-time home ownership, which I support. I would think that we could do it in a simpler way and not have all these levels and just says Caymanian first-time homeowners are entitled to up to $250,000 stamp duty free, and if your house is $100,000, you don't pay anything. If it's $250,000, you don't pay anything. If your house happens to be $400,000 as a Caymanian, you get the same benefit, but you only pay the stamp duty on the $150,000. You see, and I'll make that recommendation when the bill comes up for debate.
So we got to wrap up right here, but coming up in May, we'll be at the midpoint of this administration's tenure. At what point does Ezra Miller and other members of the opposition start maybe thinking about the 2021 election?
Well, I believe that we as members of the opposition have concentrated in the first 2 years in earning the people's trust and earning the people's, being credible to the people in the quality of our representation. I believe we've done that. Politics of it, you know, we still have time to play those.
Yeah.
But I believe we are earning respect, which is what we're about, and we've been able to keep to our principled positions of integrity. We haven't had to make unnecessary compromises in order to get things done, and I think we're moving in the right direction.
Mr. Miller, thank you so much for your time. Always appreciate it. All right, don't go anywhere. We've got more news coming up right after this break. Stick around.
Fresh fir Christmas trees are on their way to Hurley's. Our containers arrive from the forests of Quebec on November the 24th. These fresh, fragrant balsam firs won't last long. If you plan on having a tree in your home, order yours today. There's a shortage of trees coming to the island this year. Make sure your family has a green Christmas. Order your tree today at hurleys.ky/ordering. Hurley's, get fresh trees with us.
Fresh at Hurley's.
Hi, I'm Jordan Telford. I'm the master distiller for Tortuga Rum Company. I'm a born Caymanian, and I'm very proud to say that I'm producing an exceptional quality rum that's completely handmade, start to finish, distilled, bottled, and blended right here in Grand Cayman for Tortuga Rum Company.
We're not just the most reliable energy service in the Caribbean. Whether it's for your entertainment, lighting a path to your future, or making sure that you and your family are secure. We're there for you when it matters most. Your safety and our reliability are our top priority. We are committed to remaining the #1 utility service in the Caribbean. We are CUC.
If it matters to you, it matters to us. We're Cayman 27, Cayman Informed.
Welcome back. One British firm believes its new machine could help make a dent in the world's growing plastic pollution problem. Recycling Technologies has built a machine that transforms hard-to-recycle waste plastic into a novel raw material called plaques through a process called thermal cracking. Reuters' Matthew Stock reports.
The scourge of plastic pollution is a huge problem for humanity. Less than 1/10 of all plastic ever produced has been recycled, says the UN. The RT7000 is helping boost that number. Each machine recycles about 7,000 tons of mixed waste plastic a year. The plastic is first cleaned, dried and shredded, then injected into a thermal cracker where it's vaporized.
Plastic is normally a long hydrocarbon chain. So what we're doing is we're using thermal energy to break that long hydrocarbon chain into smaller fractions. We vaporize the plastics and then we use a combination of distillation columns and treatment to condense this out into a wax fraction and into an oil fraction.
These fractions are called plaques, raw materials that can be used to make new plastics. At a pilot plant 80 miles west of London, Recycling Technologies says it's already sold the next 3 years' worth of plaques at nearly $400 a ton.
So it's a very valuable product. There is a great demand right now for recycled material. There's a great deal of interest in getting recycling into the plastics industry especially.
The patented RT7000 will soon be sold globally as modular plug-and-play installations built in a matter of days. The firm wants to sell and install 1,300 machines worldwide within a decade, enough to handle over 9 million tons of plastic waste recycling a year.
So the faster we can scale, the quicker the world will have a solution. We want that solution to be worldwide. There's no point we saving all the plastic here while everyone else is dumping it in the ocean.
Such technologies can't come soon enough. Around 8 million tons of plastic is dumped in the world's ocean each year. Conservationists have warned it could outweigh fish by 2050.
Up next, world news and stories from around the region.
Some say the time of miracles is past, but we see miracles all around us, every day. Some could not walk. Some could not breathe. Some had lost all hope. But something amazing happened. Something that can't be analyzed or quantified. Something that is more than good medicine. Holy Cross.
And the flavor with a beat. Black thing now move up him dancing feet. We dance them flavor with a beat. Whole heap of sauce, yeah, we acting on the street. Young middle age or old, move your feet. When Grace if we dance, everybody have to do it.
Grace, feel the vibe, can't you feel it? Grace, delicious, so nutritious. Yes, quality when you taste it. Want affordable, look for the real.
Flavor we are flavor because the spice is clearing. Flavor with a beat, no other brand than near we.
One taste and you know Grace is real.
Sometimes having a middleman is not a bad thing, especially when it comes to insurance. Do you know that when it comes to cost, ease, speed, and peace of mind, insurance brokers ranked higher than when customers buy direct? So, for all your insurance needs, call Fidelity Insurance. We're the middleman you want. Call us today at 949-7822. Fidelity. We're good for you.
Make the most of your morning at Burger King with Burger King's unbeatable breakfast special. 2 croissants for just $4. Take 2 bacon, egg, and cheese croissants, 2 sausage, egg, and cheese, or mix and match. Add a refreshing OJ or delicious hash browns, plus tea or coffee for a true breakfast of champions. 2 croissants for just $4, available until 10:30 weekdays and 11 a.m. on weekends. Only at Burger King, 7 Mile Beach, Waterfront, Walkers Road, Town Center Plaza, and now Red Bay.
For anyone to really worry about.
Tech stocks got hammered on Monday. Apple and internet stocks took a bite out of Wall Street, pulling the Nasdaq down more than 3% and the S&P more than 1.5%. Mixed signals over the U.S.-China trade dispute soured investor sentiment too. Fiduciary Trust Senior Portfolio Manager Amy Kong says interest rates and trade are weighing on investors' minds.
This time, this is more about monetary policy in particular. Is the Fed going to be less accommodative? And of course, trade policy adding more fire to the fuel. So in general, volatility is likely to persist longer.
The Wall Street Journal reports it has slashed production orders for all 3 iPhones it launched in September. The news also sent lower shares of its suppliers like Lumentum and Cirrus Logic, and other so-called FANG stocks like Facebook and Netflix tumbled. Trade-sensitive stocks like jet maker Boeing and heavy equipment manufacturer Caterpillar fell. Trade optimism was dampened after Asia-Pacific leaders failed to agree on a communique on Sunday, and U.S. Vice President Mike Pence said the U.S. would not back down from its trade dispute with China. In Europe, markets fell. Tech stocks led the downturn there as well.
In world news, British Prime Minister Theresa May says she would not let talk of a leadership challenge distract her from a critical week of negotiations with Brussels. She says toppling her would risk delaying Brexit. Reuters' Rosanna Philpott reports.
Think they'll support you?
It could be a day of reckoning for Theresa May. Her long-awaited Brexit deal last week was met with ministerial resignations and open talk of ousting her as leader. But Britain's Prime Minister has vowed to keep fighting. In a speech on Monday, she sought to defend her plan and win support from business leaders.
Europe will always be our most proximate goods market, and ensuring we have free-flowing borders is crucial.
May could face a vote of no confidence by her Conservative lawmakers.
This is not Brexit. This is a failure of government policy. It needs to be rejected.
One will be triggered if 48 of them write letters requesting it. The Sun newspaper says the number stood at 42 on Monday morning. One of the resignations was Britain's Brexit minister himself, key to shepherding the New Deal through.
I was being asked to go and sign on the dotted line with Michel Barnier, and I just didn't feel in good conscience I could do that.
He's already been replaced by a little-known junior minister in preparation for the week ahead.
You're heading for a promotion.
More than 2 years after the United Kingdom voted to leave the EU, it's still unclear how, on what terms, or even if it will leave as planned.
Am I going to see this through? Yes.
That clarity could come this week. If it does, all eyes will be on a Sunday EU summit where leaders are to endorse and formalise the deal.
In regional news, the United States has temporarily closed its busiest border crossing with Mexico. The move is aimed at increasing security. This after migrant caravan arrived in northern Mexico. New movable wire-topped barriers were installed as residents in the border city of Tijuana held protests demanding the migrants leave.
Around 4,000 residents have been evacuated from Guatemala's volcano of fire, one of Latin America's most active. Lava and ash flowed from the crater towards an area which was already devastated by a violent eruption earlier this year.
And we've got another check on the forecast in just 2 minutes. Stick around, Joe Avery is on the way.
The finest liquor stores on island are located on West Bay Road on beautiful 7 Mile Beach. Tortuga Fine Wines and Spirits Governors Square, the greenery near the Strand, and 7 Mile Shops Plaza. Tortuga Fine Wines and Spirits boasts the widest selection and even offers free wine and spirit tastings at all 7 Mile Beach locations every Friday from 5 till 7 p.m. Family owned and operated since 1984.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You can see we're here at Northwest Point Dock in my beloved West Bay with the tides. You can see our next high tide just in a few minutes, 6:57 p.m. Then your next low tide, 1:31 a.m. tomorrow, and high tide again at 8:02 a.m. You can see how it goes. Every 5-6 hours or so, we get a different tide. Now, let's talk about the sunrise and sunset right there, because 5:45 p.m. is your sunrise. Just got a glimpse of it there, and I think it was around 6:30 or so in the morning. We're taking a look at the radar right now, though. You can see we got some showers off to the south there. It's kind of pushing out. Going to back up here so I can show you. There was a cell a little bit earlier over there. It is over by the sister islands right there. Just kind of pushing out in the same direction right there. But hey, we're going to shift gears a little bit and talk about temperatures right here. And Taylor hitting the buttons on the machine over there. 84 degrees, Georgetown. Let's see what the rest of the island has in store. 84 across the board. Let's get quickly over to the sister islands. Not much time to chat today. 84 degrees there. One quick peek at the region. We'll kind of swim around. We got a lot of 80s, some 70s. Looking out to the east, we've got some 80s and 70s, so a mixed bag. One glimpse at the 7-day forecast right here. 20% chance riding from Wednesday all the way through the week. Tuesday, I'm going to call it a 30% chance of showers. For now, we can obviously revise, and I think I do have one more weather pick of the day for you. This one's a fantastic sunset from a couple of days ago. Is it in? I don't think we have it, guys. Anyway, oh, there it is. Another day in paradise. Cornelia Reimer. Thanks to my special shadow assistant for helping me pick the weather picks of the day today. More sports with Jordan Armanese coming up after the flip side.
From happy beginnings and life choices that we make along the way,
Brit K protects your lifestyle with the best insurance cover at the best possible price.
Health insurance with far-reaching benefits,
family protection, and long-term financial plans.
business insurance, and generous employee benefits.
For happy beginnings to happy ever after, visit BritK.ky.
BritK, where people come first.
Hey, ooh, this have a flavor with a beat. Have a dance, make you move up your feet. Feel the rhythm in the music. Turn all into new into hits and classics. Every meal make you feel like it's a new remix. It's the most delicious in the West Indies. You know what feel it's Grace. Feel the vibe, can't you feel it? Grace. Delicious and nutritious. Yes. Quality when you taste it. Want affordable? Look for the label. Grace. Feel the vibe, can't you feel it? Grace. Delicious and nutritious. Yes. Quality when you taste it. Want affordable? Look for the label. Once you feel it, once you see it, once you taste it, it's real. Trust the flavor, the Caribbean Grace, it's real. Caribbean Grace, it's real.
It's fresh, fresh from the garden.
It's that turkey time of year, and Hurley's once again offers the finest pre-cooked turkey dinners in Cayman for Thanksgiving. Get a tender, juicy, oven-roasted turkey with 7 freshly made savory sides, ready for you to enjoy at the office or at home. It's enough to feed a family of 12 for about $11 each. Don't be left out. Hurley's only makes a limited number of our Thanksgiving feasts. Order yours today at hurleys.ky/ordering. Hurley's, get fresh Thanksgiving with us.
Welcome back, Cayman. Let's switch gears a little bit. We go to the pitch Saturday. The Cayman Islands men's national football squad took to the Trumbod Sports Complex for the 3rd game of the CONCACAF Nations League qualifier, this time against St. Lucia. They were looking for their first win and their first goal of the qualifying stage. Cayman 27 was there. Here is the recap.
As beloved Isle Cayman echoed through the stands of the Trumbod Sports Complex Saturday, Cayman would look to harness the energy of the home crowd into victory, playing in their 3rd game of the qualifying stage of the CONCACAF Nations League. First half, a Cayman throw-in and header that rung off the post as the home team threatened early. Tense moments on the counterattack. St. Lucia would look to go ahead on the cross into the box. That was cleared by Cayman defender Tyler Lee. Here's Cayman's Andre Ruiz with the through ball to Mark Ebanks all alone, but St. Lucia was a step ahead. A golden chance for St. Lucia on the other end as Jevic McFarland is left unmarked. He sails it over the net. Another opportunity for St. Lucia to take the lead. Shot beats keeper Ramon Sealy, but Lee would clear it 0-0 at the half. Second half, more opportunity for both sides as the home crowd of 1,500 plus waited anxiously for their team's first goal. But it was St. Lucia who caught Cayman defender Tyler Lee sleeping. McFarland, though, sails it wide. Crisis avoided. More St. Lucia pressure. Cross goes into the box. Sealy leaps. The ball sails over his hand and rings off the post. Some beautiful passing here by Cayman on the other end. Freed Jonah Ebanks. He's all alone, but he couldn't beat the St. Lucia keeper, Vino Barcelet. Cayman captain Ramon Sealy tested again in the net, and again another incredible save on the St. Lucia header, but no chance would be better than this. Jonah Ebanks on the other end. Gorgeous pass to free Michael Martin, all alone. He'd sail it over the net. This one ends 0-0. Cayman will get their first points of the qualifying stage. Here's defender Joshua Frederick and captain Ramon Sealy on the game.
We gave everything, like, with all odds against us. We went through a couple of obstacles, and today, all day, you can't complain with the result. Like, the boys grinded out to the end. We could ask for.
I think they had a little bit more of the possession than we would have really liked, but that's a part of the game. We know that we have to fight. A lot of guys had some niggling injuries, and we put in the performance. We just continue to fight and create the chances that we wanted to try and get a goal, but unfortunately, it didn't happen today.
Cayman will get its last chance to get a win in the qualifying stage of the CONCACAF Nations League. March 23rd of the new year, that game at the Trumbod Sports Complex. Their opponent will be Montserrat. Remember, 7 o'clock after the news, Let's Talk Sports live from the 2nd annual Cayman Islands Classic. Back to you.
That's our news for tonight. We thank you for watching. Good night.